That's classic. We bring you great laughs and a unique behind-the-scenes look at classic television shows and movies. I'm John Cato. I am an actor, voiceover artist, and also bring you an amazing insight as a moderator with over 20 years experience in the television industry. Okay, today we have what I would call a special host with the most, because it's my co-host. That was kind of fun to say.
That was good.
It was, eh? Bob Bergen. And I often say he is animation extraordinaire, but he really, truly is. Yes, he is my good friend. He is my co-host, but the man is just phenomenal in the world of animation. And today we're going to focus on really an area that he is part of, and that is the Looney Tunes. So this episode, we will completely just discuss the Looney Tunes. And for those of you that don't know, Bob is the voice of Porky Pig. And I'm going to turn it over to Bob right now. Bob, could you tell us some of the other voices that you are? That would be wonderful.
Well, and I will preface it with, people, when I do these interviews, they call me the voice of, or the official voice of, and there really is no such thing. I don't have a contract. None of us who do classic characters have a contract. We just get hired. Yeah, I know, right?
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is my name is not Warner, and I don't have any brothers, so I don't own these characters. But when the phone rings and they want to hire me for something, it's a good day.
Right.
But over the last 31 years, the Porky Pig is one of them. Tweety, the little buddy who hates that that.
Always cracks me up.
I've done Sylvester Jr. Many people don't know that Sylvester has, I guess, it's an illegitimate son, because we don't know who Mrs. Sylvester is. But
Look, it's a giant mouth, Pop. Go get him.
And a whole bunch of other characters. But Looney Tunes is my passion, and it's not everything that I do, but it's pretty high profile.
Did you do Marvin the Martian?
I did Marvin in the original Space Jam. Isn't that lovely?
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. So I can almost hear a little Sammy in there as well. A little Sammy Davis kind of comes across.
I'm going to blow up the Earth, baby. That's right, I'm doing Venus. Who can take the sunrise?
That was great, Marvin the Martian. So what? I guess this is something that I've read about, but I was wondering, what have you heard? Why does Porky Pig stutter?
Why does Porky Pig stutter? Because it was in the script. No, I actually, it's an interesting question, and I have the answer. I don't know if your Cato-esque research. Let's see if your research matches my truth.
Okay, I had heard that Joe Doherty, who was the original before Mel Blanc, actually had a stutter. He had a severe stutter, and that it got built into the character, and that Mel carried it on because it had become kind of synonymous with the character. Is that true?
Okay, that's true. We're going to put that right here. Let's go before that. So Friz Freleng, who was one of the founding fathers of the Looney Tunes, along with Chuck Jones and Tex Avery and Bob Clampett, Friz Freleng directed a short called "I Haven't Got a Hat," which was a parody of the Little Rascals, and they were all kids.
Wow.
And one of the characters was a kid, a pig named Porky. And Friz Freleng, when he was a kid, there was a big fat kid in school who stuttered, whose nickname was Porky. And he used that as inspiration for this character. They hired Joe Doherty to voice this character, and they sped him up. They sped up the voice because he took so much time to get the lines out. These 6-minute cartoons were coming in too long. So they sped his voice up. And he became a hit. He was the first Looney Tunes character that was a star. After a while, Jack Warner was getting these outrageous budget bills for these cartoons. Why are these cartoons costing so much?
No way.
And they said, well, this is before tape. They actually recorded the voices on film. And they said, well, this kid, because the character and the actor stutters, we have to use so much film stock to get just a 6-minute cartoon out. And Jack Warner said, then get somebody who can do this better because he's wasting too much money. Mel Blanc had done one cartoon where he did the voice of a drunken bull, actually a guy in a costume who was drunk. And they offered him the opportunity to try to do Porky and try to kind of take on the same stutter, but if he could control it so it wasn't so out of control and make it comical. And that was a cartoon called Porky's Duck Hunt, which also introduced Daffy Duck, and you voiced both those characters. So Porky's Mel Blanc's Porky debut and Daffy Duck's debut was in the same cartoon.
Oh my God, that's crazy that's how Mel Blanc got the job, because Warner Brothers was like, well, get rid of him. It's too much money. Now, were the Looney Tunes also created as a driver for the Warner Brothers musical compositions? Is that true?
Well, that was Merry Melodies.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say a name. Hugh Harmon. Watch other episodes, people. That would be funny at some point in life.
Little inside moment there. Yeah.
Right. So Disney had a franchise called Silly Symphonies, which were musical cartoons. Warner Brothers did Merry Melodies. It was their basically version of Silly Symphonies. Silly Symphonies came first. And honestly, Merry Melodies was a way to sell Warner Brothers owned sheet music. Because
that's what I was wondering.
Back in the day, people used to gather around the piano and listen to somebody in the family play music.
Right.
So
right.
It was a way to use their music library, and they really kind of sort of became the same franchise, Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. After a while, I don't know why they chose one over the other, because they started using it for music. Gosh, probably in the early 40s. And the original ones were in black and white. When we were kids, when we saw the early ones in color, they were hand colored. I mean, in these, they would actually colorize the film strips.
They were so bright. I remember them being really bright. Yeah. So tell me this. I had heard that Bugs Bunny, which I thought this was a really cool story, by the way, is changed the meaning of the word Nimrod. But Nimrod actually, do you ever hear this?
No.
Okay, this is one then that you'll enjoy. He, I guess in like the Bible or Noah, something like that, there's something about the mighty hunter, Nimrod. And I guess Bugs Bunny, I think he tells Elmer Fudd that, wow, what, looks at the camera or whatever and says, wow, what a Nimrod. And it actually changed the term, because obviously now when you say Nimrod to someone, they take it in a negative manner to mean like, loser or, bonehead, however you want to put it. And I guess when Bugs Bunny did it with that characterization, he literally changed the meaning of it. It actually represents going back in time, like a mighty hunter, a mighty tough. Yeah. But the way the line was read, it changed the whole dynamic of it. And to this day, people still look at Nimrod in that way.
That is so funny. And I would never think of it as a compliment ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently it was. See, that was my Looney Tunes history that I got to actually add to the master here. So what has been the, when you look back, what do you think is probably some of the more significant episodes that Looney Tunes has had that, obviously I know that you love Porky Pig because you're Porky Pig, but what do you think has been like when they really went into high gear and became probably the most popular?
Yeah, it's interesting because their first character that became a hit, which was, before the Bugs, the Daffys, the Porkies, they had this character Bosco.
Oh, right. Yes.
Who eventually became a character Buddy. And he was okay. Every studio had kind of like a version of Mickey Mouse, you had Oswald the Rabbit at Universal, and I started out at Disney, then Universal, now back at Disney. And then Bosco was sort of like the same, very primitively drawn character.
Right.
I would say, honestly, the standouts would be Porky's Duck Hunt, Porky's Hare Hunt, which introduced Bugs Bunny, but he wasn't Bugs Bunny. He was just a rabbit. He didn't become Bugs Bunny until Elmer's Candid Camera. I would say that each director had their own style with these characters. You knew Bob Clampett was a little bit more zany. Chuck Jones was a little bit more cerebral. The characters always looked a little bit different. So if you look back at the evolution of these cartoons, and you're like, oh, that's when Daffy Duck went greedy, because Daffy Duck was just cuckoo crazy nuts. And then all Chuck Jones says, like, I want to make him this very sad sack greedy character. Very risky to do that to an established character that the audience knew really, really well.
Did you work with Chuck Jones?
No, he was at one of my auditions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like number 12. And
Wow.
I actually, no, I take that back. I when I was a kid, Mel Blanc was doing a lecture at Loyola, an evening with Mel Blanc. Dad took me, and Chuck Jones was down front. And there's a line of kids, and he was signing the program. And I'm like, oh, Dad, I gotta go get in that line. My dad goes, yeah, sure, go get in that line. So the kid in front of me, I'm like, oh, I'm next. And the kid says to him, Mr. Jones, why does Daffy Duck have a white collar? And Chuck Jones looks at the kid and he goes, because he's a mallard, you moron.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
This poor child. The kid walks away. I hand him the lights go down.
Oh, no.
And he goes, sorry. So
You didn't get the autograph.
I did not get the autograph. So then it's my time to audition for him years later. And I went up to shake his hand, and I'm like this, like nervous. And he goes, why are you so nervous? I said, I'm about to do Porky Pig for Chuck Jones. It's like doing Jesus for God.
Right.
And he starts laughing and I start laughing. And he wasn't there to make any decisions. I think he was there because he and Frizz were the last two who were
legend.
Yeah. And it's very fortunate that he didn't have a say, because he hated me. He did not, he thought I was too young to play this character, too young to know anything about this character. I think I was 26 at the time.
Unbelievable.
So,
wow.
Yeah. So he did not have a say as to who got cast.
Wow. Did you know what? I know this story, but I mean, it's kind of hard not to, for the listeners that love Looney Tunes that haven't heard it possibly. Tell me the story, if you would, about how you initially met Mel Blanc, in person, and the phone call. And if you could run that, I think that's a terrific story. Anybody, Looney Tunes person, would love.
Yeah. I've told it a million times, but what the heck? You pay good residuals, right?
That's right. Yeah. They're huge.
That's right. So we moved to LA when I was 14. I wanted to be Porky Pig. I just figured I'm going to call Mel Blanc. I've seen him on TV. He looks old and ready to retire. And I thought, well, I'll give him a chance. Isn't that nice of me? And I really did think I was being generous. So I looked in the phone book and I could not find his phone number. And my dad explained to me that, we had come from the Midwest, from Cincinnati. And LA is a much bigger area than Cincinnati. There are dozens of phone books for LA County.
Right.
Where Cincinnati, there's one phone book.
Yeah.
So my dad traveled all over Southern California, from like Pasadena to Malibu, and went to the post office. They used to have a thing called a phone book. And he collected every white page phone book from every county he could.
Wow.
And I had a stack of phone books, and I'm going to call Mel Blanc and just tell him, hey, how are you? And I called every Mel or M Blanc in the books, for starting with the top one, working my way down.
Were there a lot of them?
Yeah, a lot of Mels and M Blancs. Yeah, enough to spend a day doing this shit. So couldn't find it. And then I thought, well, maybe it's under his wife's name, which I knew was Estelle. And I found an E Blanc in the Pacific Palisades. That was his house. And I got him on the phone, and he said, how did you get my number? And I told him how I got his number. And I recorded the conversation. It's
Oh, I've
illegal.
heard it. I've heard
Yeah,
it. Yes.
it's illegal to do, but I was making the phone calls in my parents' bedroom and in the kitchen down the hall. I just had the extension on my little portable tape recorder, and I'd push record, run back in the bedroom, dial the number, wrong number, sorry, hang up, run to the kitchen, hang up the phone, push stop, push record. And I just kept doing that
Wow.
over and over again.
Wow.
And during the course of the conversation, he had mentioned the name of the studio he was working at that week. He didn't say the day or the time, but he did say the name. So when I was finished talking to him, I called that studio. And
Oh my gosh.
I pretended to be his assistant. And I said, hi, I'm just calling to confirm Mr. Blank's appointment for, and I just made this up because I didn't know what the day was. I said, for Thursday at 9, they said, well, we have him on the books for Wednesday at 11. I said, oh, you're absolutely right. I'm looking at the wrong calendar. I'm so sorry. So I said to my mom, we're going to skip school on Wednesday and watch Mel Blanc work. And she said, cool. So when we got to the studio that Wednesday, I said to the receptionist, hi, we're guests of Mel Blanc. And she said, he's in that booth over there.
Talk about guts.
Kind of, yeah. And I walked into that over there and I said to his producer, hi, we're friends of the receptionist. And she said, we can watch. And so that's how I got to watch him work. And I collected his autograph. You probably can't see it on this, but you see the picture of Casey Kasem?
Yes.
Okay. And then 2 over, there's an autograph of Mel Blanc, but
yeah, that's a tough one.
But I had it blown up and I put it above
my right.
So
on top of your voiceover booth, of course.
Exactly. He gave me his autograph at the end of the session, and that was pretty cool.
Isn't that crazy? And then you go on to actually become the voice of Porky Pig. I mean, that's kind of a cool moment in life, you know?
Well, I will tell you that the first job I did was Tiny Toon Adventures. Mm-hmm. And my parents took me out for dinner to celebrate. And I got this tremendous just wave of depression. And my mom was like, what's wrong? And I said, I'm 26 and I just met my lifelong goal. Now, what's next? Now what? Wow. My mom, why don't you just kind of enjoy it and shut up? I mean, my mom was like, you know, because I've been telling my parents I want to be Porky Pig since I was 5.
Right. And then there you are.
Yeah. So mom was like, you just did it. So shut up. Eat. Enjoy.
Yeah. Not too many 5-year-olds that say that to their parents actually go on and do it. That's pretty amazing.
Most 5-year-olds don't say they want to be a cartoon character. I mean, if they do, that's Monday. On Tuesday, they want to be a fireman. And on Wednesday, they want to be an astronaut. I mean, that's
you never stopped. You always wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, okay, a little history here again. I heard, do you know, it's kind of fun throwing these past you. Do you know what Tweety's name was before it was Tweety?
I don't.
Do you know what color he was before?
He was flesh colored.
Yeah, that is correct.
He was actually based on a naked baby picture of Bob Clampett, and in only one cartoon, which is called A Tale of Two Kitties, which is an Abbott and Costello parody.
Oh, I did not know that part of it. Of course, I love Abbott and Costello, so that's wild.
Oh, I know. It was Babbitt and Costello. Those are the 2 characters.
Oh, wow. See if I can find that.
He was flesh colored. And this was during the days of the Hayes Commission, which was basically the motion picture censorship group. They said, the bird looks naked. And Bob Clampett's like, well, it's a bird. So,
yeah.
They said, put feathers on that, so the next cartoon, he was yellow.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
What was his name?
Orson.
I actually, now that you're saying that, I did know that.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of a wild one. Well, I'm glad that I got it past you a little bit. You got to have a couple of those.
There you go.
Bob Bergen goes.
By the way, so what famous motion picture did that Tale of Two Kitties cartoon debut with?
Oh God! Now that I'll never know. Don't tell me it was like an Abbott and Costello or something like that.
Wouldn't that be funny? But they were under contract at Universal, and this was a Warner Brothers picture.
What year was it?
Think World War II.
God, what would that have been? Oh, you got me. I don't know.
Casablanca.
Oh, it was Casablanca?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
paired with Casablanca.
I'll be darned. Oh, that's pretty cool. What a great opening. Oh my God. Casablanca, definitely one of my favorites, period.
There you go.
I got another one for you.
Right.
Sylvester,
Yeah.
which I,
Thomas.
okay, whatever. It was Thomas. You're right.
Was that your question? What color was his nose?
Blue.
Red.
Ah, shoot. I actually had a visual in my head of blue, and I was like, come on, I got that one.
And by the way,
Okay.
Sylvester and Daffy Duck are pretty much the same voice, but Daffy Duck is sped up.
Is it, are they done by the same person now?
No.
Wow.
No, they were when Joe Alasky was with us, when Joe Alasky was doing both Daffy and Sylvester. But right now, I mean, it depends on the project. They bounce around who does what voices.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we've got Jeff Bergman doing Sylvester and Eric Bauza doing Daffy.
Interesting. I got another one for you, Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
What is Yosemite Sam's name in France?
It is it is Le Sam de Yosemite. I don't know what's his name.
Sam the Pirate.
Of
Don't
course it
ask me why.
Of course
That's
it is. Because
Sam the Pirate.
the Old West was full of pirates.
Exactly. I thought that was one of the most bizarre ones that I saw. So for you personally, I mean, obviously you do the voices, but what are your favorite characters, from Looney Tunes? Like, what have always been yours? Has it always been Porky Pig?
For me personally, it's always been Porky Pig. But as a kid growing up, there were some obscure characters that like one-offs that, in fact, I got to do one of them. I can talk about this because it's on HBO Max. Actually, it will be, when does this broadcast, this thing we're doing?
We're hoping within a week or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? Then I'm going to actually give you a nugget of information that nobody will know.
All right.
So HBO Max is doing Looney Tunes cartoons, which are the closest Looney Tunes shorts. There was an old bunny and this little gremlin, and he's flying an airplane and he's almost crashing it, and Bugs Bunny's freaking out, and the little gremlin would be like,
These blockbuster bombs don't go off unless you hit them just right.
and
I remember that.
he had this little laugh that was like,
I totally remember this.
so I'm doing the gremlin in the new shorts.
Oh my gosh.
So that was one of those little characters that when I auditioned for him, I was like, I really want this because I love that little character. I loved him. I loved Pete Puma, who did maybe one or two shorts.
Yeah, I don't know if I know Pete Puma. I definitely know the one you just did.
Pete Puma was an orange puma, and he had a big jaw.
And it was Stan Freebert's first job as a voice actor. He was 19 years old.
Wow, 19.
Yeah. So I love Pete Puma. I loved the little gremlin. I loved Bicky Buzzard. Bicky Buzzard was that.
Yeah, it's like I know him. I didn't know him by name.
Yeah. So some of my favorite Looney Tunes characters were just these little one-offs, maybe one or two. Okay, what was Marvin the Martian's name originally?
You got me on that one. I don't know.
And when was he named Marvin?
Tell me.
Okay, so Marvin the Martian, first of all, his voice changed. The very first cartoon he did,
he had a voice like this. Oh, God, it's a uranium fuel that is explosive space modulator.
And then years later,
Wow.
they brought it back. And Mel Blanc, I didn't even know he had done him before.
So he just created this guy.
So the name of the character in the script, it didn't say Marvin or Martian, it said Antwerp.
Antwerp?
Antwerp, because Chuck Jones designed him after an ant. He drew a little black ant and then put the costume on the ant.
Oh, wow.
And he was a little guy, so they called him Antwerp. That cartoon, or that cartoon session that I had crashed with Mel Blanc,
Yeah.
that was actually a stage show. That like an arena show like they used to do in the old days.
Yeah.
And the Martian was in it, and he was singing a song that went like,
My friends all call me Twerp, but Antwerp is my name.
and I looked at the producer, I said, who's Antwerp? And she said,
Oh,
with the Martian guy in the old cartoons, but they never referred to him by name. Cut to a few years later, they need a name for a shirt with a Martian character or a
yeah.
lunch with the Mar. So they're like, all right, Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, something Martian, something Martian, something Martian. Can't be Mickey. Mickey's been done. Murray Martian, Marvin. So
Wow.
the merchandising department named him Marvin the Martian, and he's the
Oh.
only Looney Tune with a the. It's not Porky the Pig or Bugs the Bunny. He's
You're
Marvin.
right.
It's not just Marvin Martian. It's Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. So it was basically just for sales.
It was completely for merchandise. Yes.
I got you. Okay, so I got to ask you about obviously with the new Space Jam that's coming forth. What was it like working on the original, and then what was it like, obviously, working on the one that we are about to have premiere?
I could talk about the original, but I can't talk about the new one.
Can't talk about the new one. Okay, tell us about the original then.
The original was a lot of auditions. I remember my last audition was at LA Studios. You know LA Studios.
Yeah, I do. I've done many jobs there myself. Yeah.
It's kind of like it's almost like a mall for studios. There's like a different 25,000 different rooms.
Yeah.
I'm in the lobby, and people who've never been there, it's got leopard print, and it's just this iconic studio. And there's a billion people there auditioning for these Looney Tunes characters. And the casting director, before it's my turn to go in, he goes, "How many times have you done Porky Pig?" I said, "I don't know. I've never counted. I mean, I've been doing him since 1990, and this is about 95-ish.
So they know you're the guy that usually does Porky Pig.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But the casting director grabs me by the shoulders, pushes me against the wall, and he goes, "I need to know how many times."
What?
Dozens. And he goes, "Okay, when you go in there to read for Ivan Reitman," because Ivan Reitman was producing the film and casting it, he said,
Oh, wow.
"Tell him you've done it dozens of times." I said, "Okay." So I walked in. Ivan Reitman's writing something on
Yeah,
a
he's
desk.
a classic himself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, "Mr. Reitman, I've been informed to tell you that I've played this character dozens of times." And without looking up, he says, "Well, since there's a lobby full of people trying to take this character away from you, that doesn't matter, does it?" And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
"Oh,
Wow.
okay." So I have a script, and I hate it when they type in my stutter in the script.
They don't just say stutter, they actually type the stutter.
If they're brand new and I've never worked with them, they will actually type in the stutter, and I can never find the actual story amongst all the W's and P's and V's and whatever.
Wow.
And I think one of the lines was something like, "Hello, Daffy, where's Bugs?" And it was H, 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 "Hello, Daffy, where's Bugs?" And well, you can't stutter on an H. You can only stutter on consonants,
How interesting.
and you can't stutter on vowels, and you can't stutter on H. So instead of trying to stutter hello, I went,
Hello, Daffy, where's Bugs?
and he goes, "Can you not read the script?
Oh, no, come on.
Stutter on the H." And I said,
Oh, come on.
"Porky can't stutter on H." He goes, "Why not?" I said, "You try."
Did you say that?
Yeah.
To Ivan Reitman?
And he goes, "Well, what were you stuttering?" I said, "Daffy." "What were you doing?"
Daffy.
He goes, "Daffy." I said, "Great. Now do it with an H." He goes, and then he goes, "All right, Porky can't stutter on H." I said, "Great. Yes, exactly." Yeah. I left that audition thinking I didn't get it. And then
Wow.
I did have another callback where I was told that they were going to put an offer out to Jack Lemmon for Porky Pig in Space Jam.
What?
And I said to the casting director, "How could they change such an iconic character with a celebrity?" And she said, "Well, lots of people have played James Bond."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, "Well,
Seriously?
I got nothing." So for
Oh.
that, they had us do Shakespeare.
Oh, wow.
They passed out Hamlet, and it was down to about 4 or 5 of us at that point.
Now, did you know these other 4 or 5 guys? Like, have you seen them since through the years? Are these like guys that went on to have big animation careers?
Don't even remember. I
Wow.
was focused, but I remember when they had passed, because when it comes to a classic character,
Yeah.
It's easy to mimic the catchphrases.
Sure.
New stuff is hard. Shakespeare's really hard if you don't know the character well.
Right.
I loved it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. And I could see them sweating. And I was like, oh, I think I got this. I think I got this.
Yeah. No one's going to be able to pull it off that fast.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So was Space Jam, the original, was it an enjoyable experience once you actually shot it?
Yes and no.
Okay, great. Thanks for being honest.
Yes and no. First of all, like any movie, you record or you shoot out of sequence. I never quite understood or knew what the story was.
Wow.
We improvised quite a bit. I'll tell you, Tweety is sped up. Tweety, when I did Tweety, he sounds like this. When you hear it back, it sounds better. Okay.
Wow.
So we're doing day after day after day after day, and we're doing the basketball scenes and the locker.
Very famous.
All the characters are talking on top of each other. I don't know, it was like weeks into the film, and I said to Ivan, "Hey, Ivan, just kind of curious. How are you going to isolate my voice to speed up Tweety when I'm talking on top of all these other characters?" And he goes, "Oh, the guys in that booth, they know how to do that." And this guy pushes a talk back button. He goes, "No, we don't."
Jeez.
And so we had to go back and re-record all that stuff. And Billy West goes, "You moron. Wait till the end of the movie. We'll get the whole damn thing over again." That's where I met Billy West. Billy West is one of the sweetest, dearest, most talented people on the planet. It was a fun experience. I don't know if I've told you this story. Did I tell you the story about the premiere?
No, you did not.
Okay.
That I do not know about.
Okay, here's the story about the premiere. I wasn't invited.
What?
So I was with Arlene Thornton at the time.
Yeah.
And Arlene calls up, and Arlene calls to find out about my invitation to the premiere. And the answer she got was, "Well, the premiere is only for talent."
Oh no, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Did they not invite the other voice actors?
They ended up inviting Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck because they were bigger stars. Now, they were bigger stars. But the actors doing it, I think it was D. Bradley Baker's one of his first big jobs, and Billy West's job.
Wow.
So D. Baker's wife Michelle allowed me to be Dee's date at the premiere.
That is ridiculous.
I'd never been to a premiere before. It was at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood.
Oh, how cool.
We are walking down the red carpet, and the cheering and the loving and the yelling, and we got our little tickets, and this is really cool. And they look at our tickets and they go, "Oh no, you guys are in the Overflow Theater down the street."
Oh my God. I mean, you guys literally are a major part of this. Oh my God.
And we go, "Oh, okay." So we go down the street to this little annex theater, and we're in maybe 25% filled with secretaries and office workers. Now, we did have passes to the after party on the back lot afterwards, and Dee's like, "Do you think we're going to the down the street after party, like maybe to a 7-Eleven or something?"
Or they hand you a serving tray, right? Walk in. I mean,
we did get to go to the actual after party, and it was fun. It was a hoot and a holler. In the distance, I saw this very tall, bald head walking by. I was, "Oh, I gotta go meet Michael Jordan."
Did you meet him?
Well, I went running up to him, and this giant security guard like stops me like this. And I said, I wanted to meet Michael Jordan. And he goes, "Nobody meets Michael Jordan."
Oh, geez.
I said, I'm Porky Pig in the movie. He goes, "I don't care if you're Mickey Mouse. You ain't meet Michael Jordan." I went, okay. So I didn't get to meet him.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that insane? Because anybody watching the film and stuff would think, oh, of course. I mean, whoever played Porky Pig, whoever, you're one of the stars of the movie. I mean, you would know Michael because he was probably there for some things. And you probably and there was no connection whatsoever.
And all I kept thinking was, yeah, you and Michael Jordan might want to meet the cartoon voices, because we didn't get to work together. We were recording our voices on a stage, and he's on another stage shooting me on camera. So we didn't work together.
Wow.
But my first thought was, wouldn't Michael Jordan kind of want to do this? Number one. Number two, it's the premiere of Space Jam.
Literally.
I mean, of course, the voice of Porky Pig is going to beat
Right.
But yeah, let me meet Michael Jordan. I never met him.
Wow, that's crazy. Hey, I have a little trivia thing, and I'll see if you know this one. What character has been both on a Disney cartoon and Looney Tunes?
On a Disney cartoon and Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
well,
he's crossed over.
Does Who Framed Roger Rabbit count? Because they all crossed over.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you could throw that out. Which is funny. I was going to ask you about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Witch Hazel was actually the character that I read. Is that true or not?
It's a witch. Her name is Witch Hazel. They're both voiced by June Foray. I take that back. B. Benaderet voiced her first for Looney Tunes.
Oh, really?
B. Benaderet was the original voice of Granny in Looney Tunes.
Okay, right.
Also voiced Witch Hazel for Looney Tunes. June Foray voiced Witch Hazel for Disney. And then June and B started sharing Witch Hazel and Granny. And then B. Benaderet died in the mid-60s, and June just took over for everything. So you're kind of sort of right. Did I tell you my June Foray story when I was at that she was getting an award?
I don't know if you did. I know you were close, but yeah, I don't know if I've heard this story though. Go ahead.
She was getting an award at some voiceover conference, and they said, let's take a look at the work of June Foray, and they show a montage. Everything they showed was B. Benaderet.
Oh no.
And June grabs my leg under the table, and she is squeezing my thigh so hard, and she'd had a few vodkas, so she was a little tipsy, and she was really pissed, and I could feel the heat radiating from her body. And she goes, the first one comes up, she goes, that's B. Benaderet. And then the next one, that's B. Benaderet. She grabs my leg, they're all B. Benaderet. Like that, like the Exorcist came out of her mouth.
Oh my gosh. And she never said anything? Did she ever comment on it?
I said, no, June, because I was walking her on stage because she was elderly and she had to hold on to me. I said, June, you can't say anything up there. She goes, like hell I can't. I said, no. You can't say anything up there. And she was a perfect angel and didn't say a damn thing.
Wow.
That was in Anaheim. We both lived in Woodland Hills, and driving home from Anaheim, that was one pissed off little lady.
Oh my gosh, no kidding, to show all of the other woman's work. Woof.
Every clip. But you know, in their defense, June never got screen credit. Only Mel Blanc did.
Really?
Yeah, every cartoon, Mel Blanc was not Elmer Fudd. Mel Blanc was not the Roadrunner. He was certainly not Granny. He was certainly not Witch Hazel. There were a lot of voices he wasn't, but he got sole screen credit. So
oh my gosh.
Nobody knew who else did any of those other characters. So it didn't say June Foray or B. Benaderet in the credits of those cartoons. It just said voice characterizations Mel Blanc.
Oh, is that sad? Jeez.
Yeah.
So what about residuals and that coming from Looney Tunes work? First of all, did Mel Blanc, in essence, was he even part of that? Because was that even around? And is that around now?
I mean, well, it's certainly around now.
Right, but like when? When did that kind of happen?
The residual formula that we have today, and it has changed, is probably started in the late 60s, early 70s. The Looney Tunes cartoons stopped in the mid to late 60s. So Mel Blanc, he did not get rich doing Looney Tunes. Mel Blanc probably made more money doing radio. Excuse me. He started making his money in this business with commercials and television cartoons.
Wow.
I went to his estate sale after he passed away.
Oh, you did?
My friend Erin Perry, Erin, if you're watching, thank you. She said, I got some scoop. There's an estate sale in the Pacific Palisades. And I said, great. I would have
loved to have gone to that stuff. It drives me nuts when you tell me these stories.
And I walked in. You know that big speechless picture that was in the trades after he died with all the characters?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
They had the original painting. they had Mel Blanc's microphone.
Oh, wow.
It was a silent auction for everything. And I said to my mom, I'm going to bid on that. And she goes, you can't afford that. And I said, I'll find some way. I didn't get that. What I did get was he was the honorary mayor of the Pacific Palisades. So I got the key to the city that says honorary mayor of Pacific Palisades, Mel Blanc. And I have that hung up. These two little Porky and Tweety figurines that he had.
I've seen those. Those are cool. Yeah.
I had that and a whole bunch of business cards.
Oh, wow. Is that crazy?
He had a mosaic tile at the bottom of his swimming pool made up to look like Bugs Bunny.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's wild. Well, obviously he did all right. He did quite well anyway.
You know, he actually, I don't think did. I don't think Mel Blanc was. I don't know if he died a wealthy man. I know that his son Noel was able to track down. I heard close to $1 million in unpaid residuals from over the years, and I think that's how his wife, his widow, survived and lived the rest of her life over on that money.
That crazy.
Yeah.
You know, as we close out, I want to close out, and we might do a second Looney Tunes. We might still do another one, but I think for everybody out there, I find that story that you had put out about Casey Kasem, I find that fascinating about Casey Kasem and your first break in the business, really. And I just think it's a great story. It might not be directly Looney Tunes, but it is kind of the start to your drive in that direction. So can you tell us the Casey Kasem story?
Yeah, I mean, in fact, I think I'll do this again. What the heck? But over there is a picture of Casey Kasem. Yeah. I think you see it. So I was graduating high school. We had a friend of the family who knew Casey and had him send me an autographed picture. And I sent him a thank you note. And I said, by the way, I want your job. And I put my phone number down. He called me up.
How you do this?
Yeah. And I'd been studying voiceover. But he's like, do you have a demo? Do you have an agent? No. He goes, well, put together a little something, just do a bunch of voices. And if I hear anything, I'll give it to my agent.
How old are you here?
Just turned 18.
Okay.
Just before high school graduation. It was like May. And his agent was a guy named Don Pitts. Mm-hmm. And Don was in the hospital with something. I don't know what he did or had, but he was in an oxygen tent at Cedars-Sinai.
Oh my gosh.
Casey went to the hospital with a little portable tape recorder and through the plastic of the oxygen tent played this little homemade demo. And a few weeks later, he recovered and he called me up.
Who does that? Come on.
I know. And he called me up and he said, I heard the tape you sent Casey and you're very talented and I'd like to represent you. And I said, okay, mister, I don't know what that means. But as long as it's after 3:00, because I'm still in school till June.
Right.
And he goes, okay. And I didn't know I had hit the agent jackpot because he represented Casey Kasem, June Foray, Janet Waldo, Paul Winchell, Mel Blanc. My first audition was with Orson Welles.
Oh my gosh. So not only do you end up with Mel Blanc's agent, but then your first audition is with Orson Welles.
Did I tell that Orson Welles story?
I'd be happy to hear it if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm sitting in the lobby at Commercials Unlimited. That was the agency Don was with at the time.
No, well.
And in walks and sits down next to me, Orson Welles.
A big man. I mean,
a big man, and he smelled like a combination of cigar and curdled cottage cheese.
Oh, geez.
And he had greasy hair, and there was something disgusting about him.
Oh.
Yet still just Hollywood royalty.
Wow.
And he looks down at my script. He looks at his script and he goes, I believe we're auditioning together. Would you like to practice outside? I was like, sure. And we do a take and he goes, I think that'll do. Okay. and Don had a booth about the same size as my booth right there, which is like 3.5 by 3.5.
No, come on.
And Orson Welles was about 9.5 by 9.5.
Right.
And so we're in this booth and his stomach is on mine. And I can't move and I really couldn't breathe. And when we were done, I swoosed out first, and I had this big wet circle on my
Oh,
shirt. And all I kept thinking was, I'm never washing that. That is Orson Welles' S on my stomach. And the damn thing, it evaporated, and I was really pissed because it just.
oh.
But yeah, that was my first audition.
Did you get it, or did he get it?
I don't know if I didn't get it. I didn't book much.
Is that
Yeah.
funny?
In the early days, I did not book much stuff.
Isn't that something? And
Yeah.
Don Pitts just stayed with you. He just believed in you.
I actually left him. I was with Don for 5 years, and
Wow.
really wasn't getting a lot of work.
Wow.
And I felt terrible leaving him. In fact, his assistant was a guy named Paul Doherty. And Paul
Yeah,
Doherty,
I know Paul.
and Paul is
Paul
the
represented me, basically. Yeah.
That's right. Paul is
Yeah.
the DSD. And before he went to CE, it was called CED at the time. I called up Paul to talk to Don, and I said, I think I have to leave. It's not. And Paul said, nobody knows this. Don's in the hospital in an oxygen tent. No, he wasn't in an oxygen
Right,
tent.
exactly. Listening to a cassette.
He was in the hospital.
Wow.
And nobody knows he's okay. But I said, well, my contract expired and I need to go elsewhere. What do I do? And Paul goes, Don is a lovely guy and he loves you to death. But when you got Hal Smith and Paul Winchell and Casey Kasem and Adam West and Shatner and all these major people, he's not doing what he should be for you.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's when I went to Arlene, and that night the phone rang. Hello, and I hear in the background.
Oh no.
And I heard beep, beep.
Oh geez, come on.
Bob, it's Don. I heard some very disturbing news today. And then I started talking, I'm beep, 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 beep. I'm like, oh God, I killed him.
Oh my God.
He was lovely. And he said to me, you're going to be very successful. And I just wanted to share that with you.
What? Oh my God. What a great guy.
Don's office was a tall bank building where Hollywood and Highland is now.
Wow.
And for years, I couldn't go to Hollywood and Highland because I had such guilt because I left Don and his office used to be there. I've been there since, but
right.
So that's the Casey Kasem story with a little bit of that.
Well, it's a good one. It's a good one. Another little piece of Looney Tunes trivia.
This is like Stump the Pig, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Right.
I didn't mean it to be, but it's
this is
fun.
Bring
When you've got a close friend on, it's like, how do you not have a little bit of tweaky fun with this? Okay, Wile E. Coyote. What does the E stand for?
I don't think it stands for anything.
You don't think it stands for anything, huh? Okay, then what is his name? Or what was his original name?
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. I swear to God, this is one that I thought was bizarre. Ethelbert.
Okay. Okay. All right.
That's a weird one.
I've got one for you.
What?
You know when the Roadrunner sticks his tongue out and it makes that little sound?
Yeah.
What's that? What's that sound effect?
Like a muffled tom-tom hitting.
That's a very good guess. Treg Brown, who was the sound effects guy for the Looney Tunes cartoons forever, it's the sound of his thumb popping out of a Coke bottle.
Oh,
sped up fast. So he just did this. So take a Coke bottle and just go like this, and you hear that little sound.
Yeah.
And sped up real fast.
Oh, is that insane? Who would have heard that and gone, I got it. That's it. Oh, that's crazy. I mean, seriously. Hey, by the way, I'm not sure if Ethelbert was inspired by Mark Twain, but somewhere in there, it might be Ethelbert, the name Ethelbert, or else Wile E. Coyote. One of those two, it was inspired by Mark Twain.
Well, I will tell you, Chuck Jones created Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, and he was a huge Mark Twain fan. So that makes perfect sense.
Okay. That's got to be it then, because I knew there was a tie into that. And I think that maybe there's an Ethelbert in one of the Mark Twain books, and that's how that all circles around. But I always thought that was kind of a wild thing.
I'll tell you one other little of the director's story.
Okay.
Early on,
We'll close out on this story. Go ahead.
early on when I was doing Looney Tunes, they asked me and Friz Freleng to do Good Morning London, but we were on satellite. We went to Warner Brothers Animation Studio, and Friz Freleng was one of the co-creators. He created Porky Pig,
Right.
and he was elderly at the time. And the president of Warner Brothers Animation, I go to the green room. Friz, this is Bob Bergen. He's doing Porky Pig for us now. And Friz goes, "We used a guy named Mel Blanc." I said, "I know." And he goes, "I didn't always love him." I said, "What?" Goes, "Well, you know, he was fine for Bugs and Daffy and Porky, but Jesus Christ, I didn't want to use him for everything, but Jack Warner was too cheap to hire someone else. So I was stuck for everything."
Oh my God.
And the Warner Brothers executive said, "Friz, we're not going to tell that story when we're live on the air, right?" "Which story?"
Oh,
"Good."
oh, wow. Wow. Boy, no kidding. Yeah. That is interesting. Isn't that something? How, I think that actually, that's a good story to close out on, because I mean, it is funny how many of these things were based on either merchandising or promoting, or let's cut the budget. How many can you do?
Why does Mickey Mouse only have 4 fingers? Because an extra finger would have cost thousands and thousands of dollars over the years. I mean, seriously.
Is that true?
Or lines on his glove. Yeah, there's if you add up how much ink and time it would have taken, it's a money saving thing.
It's just crazy to me, because you look at it as such an artistic thing, or such a creative, moment. And it's like, no, they were really just trying to save money. So it's like, you can do it well enough. You're the guy. Bob, thanks for coming on. Obviously, I always have a blast. I love having you as my co-host, but I'm so glad that we got to actually do an episode that just kind of, talks about your background and
thank you I love the trivia. That was fun. Keep that up. I like this Stump the Pig thing. It keeps me on my toes, and I don't have any toes to be kept on. So this is fun.
I think it's good. I did enjoy those moments from a personal level, but
also
it's fun for the listeners to hear like that stuff too. It's good history. But anyway, thanks a bunch. I can't wait to do, we'll do another Looney Tunes, but I just look so forward to doing more of our episodes together. That's coming in. And for those of you that haven't had a chance, remember our previous one, which will have been Jerry Mathers from the Beeve. So, all right,
buddy.
Take it easy, Bob. Look forward to talking to you. Hold on. Hey, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button in the corner of the video so that you don't miss any of our future YouTube podcasts. Also, follow us on iTunes and Spotify and leave us a review.